While we're waiting for Shirley to join, I'll just take a few minutes to talk about the kinds of things that I have been thinking about. This being, we're just 5 weeks into the year 2026, and there's been some tragic things have happened in the world. And it's my opinion, a lot of these tragedies occur because there are people who are afraid. They have a fear. And in so many ways, it seems like that fear is of otherness. Someone who is not like them getting more of their share. They have a fear of somebody who looks different, or somebody's from a different country, someone who talks differently. They're afraid that other people's values. My thought is that some of these fears, we're not going to cure everything, but uh, the cure for a lot of this animosity and contention and violence, I think some of it can be addressed by really wondering about each other. And what is it like to be that person, seeing somebody who's not like you as a person who may be more like you than you thought? And these are some things I just want to air out with Shirley. Shirley and Brian have stayed connected since the MBA class of 2006. Out of those 46 or 48 people in that cohort, uh, I stay in touch with her and don't have the same kind of connection with the other members of that class. And I'm not exactly sure why that is, except Shirley is one of those few people that I know who in an exceptional way, does think about other people. She has thought of me and checked in on me at times when maybe other people didn't do that. So I've just loved that about her. And I want to help her amplify her professional message and personal message because she's one of my favorite humans. And I just thought it'd be fun to capture some of that. And maybe 10 years from now, we'll look back and think, hey, remember that time we had that conversation? And we'll think about what the world is like in the year 2036 and look back at this time when we were young. And here comes Shirley.
I'm trying to get the lighting right.
All right, take a minute. If you could see all the stuff that I had to do to get the lighting right, knowing that it's going
Yeah,
to get dark in about because the sun has set here and
yeah,
I got
and
backup.
yeah, it's been cloudy here all day, but
Yeah.
well, not all day, but it is right now. So hopefully it's how bad is the lighting?
There's no such thing as bad lighting, but you might try to put it behind the computer. You have a way to put a lamp or something on the
I
other
have the
side?
ring light behind the computer. I can move the lamp behind the computer and move the ring light to the side. I can try that.
All right, figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, the this house doesn't have a ceiling light, which I think is odd, but they didn't ask me when they were building it.
Yeah, well, ceiling
Another mis
lights rarely,
huh?
yeah, I said ceiling lights rarely project a complementary light. And I put dimmer switches on, I think, every room that we have, every switch that controls ceiling lights, because sometimes it's just too bright. And
Uh-huh.
so that helps.
Yeah. Well, I'm
But we have
glad you
other,
use the dimmer lights, and hopefully it's from a manufacturer that we represent. LaRon and I
okay.
would appreciate that. Since that's the
We're always thinking about Lolo even when he's not here, right?
yes, he's a character.
Yep,
So
one of my favorites.
yep. So it didn't help much, but we will we may have to I may have to switch rooms, but for now Hopefully this will work.
We'll make it work. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And it's probably helped turn. No, that's too bright now.
yeah. Turn. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever it was good because it just kind of it like even try on the ceiling or an opposite wall, and it'll bounce off a wall and provide light, but instead
Okay.
of going straight on you. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
little better. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now we're
Okay.
money. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Then
Oh,
I
I'm
can
feeling
move
those
this over.
earrings. I got you. Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
As they say, now we're cooking with gas.
There it is.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Before we get all polished, when I clap
Okay.
my hands, that's going to be the beginning of recording. Just going to be you and me and friends. I'm going to tell you the very first question I'm going to ask is I'm going to say a little something and I'm going to say, hey, Shirley, how do we know each other? And
Okay.
then I'm going to get out of your way because we already talked about some stuff. So ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You look great.
Thank
Three,
you.
2, 1. Welcome to Crow Tribe Conversations, everybody. I'm here with one of my favorite humans. Look at that smile. So Shirley and I are great friends. And Shirley, tell people, how do we know each other?
Well, we met at ASU when we both decided that it was time to embark on our MBA journey, and we both enrolled in the executive MBA class. And officially, this year will mark 20 years since we graduated. And so we
Seems
maintained the
like only
friendship going.
yesterday, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm so proud that we've stayed in touch. And and anyway, so that we're in the same class, that was a great, I don't know about you, but for me, that was a great time and kind of a gift to myself to do that kind of thing. So what was going on in your life when in prior to so let's we're starting in summer of 2004. So you're
Yeah.
2003, 2004, what was happening in your life that caused you to think I'm going to get an MBA from Arizona State University?
Well, I had been thinking about it for a few years and I just never pulled the trigger. And I finally said, I'm going. And I wanted the MBA and I wanted it specifically from ASU because at the time, nothing against any other school, but the thought of going to the University of Phoenix just wasn't an option.
Mhm.
And so I was determined to go to ASU. I was starting the process for the evening program. And I'm not a great test taker. It causes me crazy anxiety. And so I knew I had to take the GMAT for that program. And then one of my former managers, she had finished this program and she suggested that I consider the executive program. And so I ended up talking to the team at ASU and was accepted into the program. And so that's how I ended up in the executive program. But I was planning to go regardless, but I just knew I had to complete the GMAT step to finish the requirements for the program. And a side note, and I know we'll probably talk about this at some point when
Yep.
we do things and we never know who we are influencing. And so one of my good friends, she had thought about going back to get her MBA because she had her double E already from ASU. And because I made the decision to go back, she also made the decision to go back. And so we were there at the same time, but she was in the evening program. So I didn't realize that that was influencing her and that me going back actually made her make the decision to go for it as well.
I love that story. And it kind of pivots to there's an element of that that I think about stuff that you and I have talked about in the last couple conversations. And for those of you listening to this podcast, if you're not watching, um, sometimes Shirley and I talk and there's nothing to do, but I feel so much better when I just hear her voice. And it's just one of those, Shirley, you're one of those friends who, if we're just talking, it doesn't matter what we're saying. I just feel better because feels good to be heard and listened to, and you're one of those great people at that. And that kind of kindness, the world is you know, is crazy. We got to put an F bomb in front of the word crazy. It's been ridiculous. And to me, it's that much more important to be kind. And you're one of those kind of people who calls and said, "Hey, Brian, you okay? I was thinking about you." That
Yeah.
that little gesture has set you apart in my life. So I appreciate that about you. But that's what I'm thinking about, how we influence other people. You good example of your friend. Um, I'm guessing you got other examples like that. People have influenced you
Yeah.
and they may not even know it, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and when we talk about my journey and the decision to um, get my MBA, the company I was working for at the time, I had probably reached my peak there, but I truly, truly enjoyed my job. It
Hmm.
was the best job for me that I've ever had. And I probably would have continued if things had worked out, but obviously it wasn't meant to be. But when I talk about people influencing me that I may never have an opportunity to tell them,
Hmm.
but I also know that I've touched people. And the reason I love that job so was because I worked with young people. Our target demographic was straight out of college. We were
Mm.
the farm team for the company. So we were bringing in young people, but we also had to inject some people with some years of experience that kind of allowed us to kind of do that bridging. So that when I say we were the farm team, we had three pillars that we were primarily responsible for. And
Right.
one was training and developing new staff so that they could develop the skills that they need. And it ended up being like the foundation for their careers. And when I tell you, I can't even keep track of the number of people that have come back that have said what it meant to them and how much that start helped their career. And so that was one of the main focuses for our group. And coincidentally, a young lady reached out to me this week.
Oh,
Yes, of all apps, next door. And she sent
oh,
the message through next door and asked if I was the same Shirley. It's like, okay, how many Shirley Statens could it be in the Phoenix area? But yes,
right.
I'm her. So we're having dinner next week.
Oh, I
But
love that. What's her first name?
her name is Liz.
Liz. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
going to be thinking about you and Liz then. I love that story.
Yeah, so that so needless to say that put a smile on my face. And then the second pillar was to work with customers who traditionally didn't get the attention from our more senior sales team. So we were in a centralized structure, the first in our industry to have PCs. So luckily we had the young people who were going through college that could help us with that
Right.
that transition. And so we were able to develop those customers, teach them how to, the sales team, how to develop relationships, how to nurture accounts, how to grow the accounts, how to weed out the ones that didn't have growth potential, but they still deserve to be a service. So we were able to
Mm.
blend that into our offering. So um, as we continue to develop accounts, we uh, were able to also look at services and needs of those customers. And then as the internet came, we were able to offer that to customers who didn't need one-on-one relationships and things like that. And then our third pillar was to be the beta team whenever the company was looking at new applications or new any type of software or equipment. We were the beta, and so we were able to influence some of the decisions that the company was making as it related to new tools that they could ultimately roll out to the rest of the organization.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Let's bend away from tools and operations and organization. I'm thinking about you and Liz having a snack whenever you're going to do that. And what are you two going to talk about? Is it going
Okay.
to be
Well,
organizations? Or are you going to be, hey girl, what's happening? Or
it's going to be a combination of it all
yeah,
because
yeah.
because again, she was one that came through our organization, and her at the time, her husband was launching his business, and now she's working full time with him and their family business.
Ooh,
And so
okay.
we'll have a
Okay.
chance to kind of see how that has evolved. And then also she had even it was again cool in my contacts. I still had her in my contacts. And so I sent her a screen print. Is this still current? Even had her daughter's names in
Oh,
my contacts, and the year the first one was born, so she can see that she was still actually still special to me, because otherwise I'm sure I would have deleted it by now. But she was, and I still remember her personality. She had a great laugh. She was feisty as all get up, and
yeah,
she
yeah.
was smart. And so she used to teach me some tricks and tips on Excel when Excel was first launching. And so that was again the beauty of the department that I ran, was because we had these young people knew how to use all these tools, while inserting some people with some years of experience that could also help bridge them with understanding some things as it related to business and servicing customers and developing relationships and things like that. So it was a great uh, team effort, and I really enjoyed it. And so again, when Liz and I, when we get together, she is saying, "Oh, you want to do lunch or dinner?" It's like, "Oh, we have to do dinner, because lunch there's no
When,
way we can get through everything we need to talk about in a lunch during a lunch break."
Shirley, I've noted the way we're talking about stuff and going back when Excel was invented, there are people who are old enough to vote who don't know, they don't, they weren't alive in the 1900s. I hear that term, it
Right.
kills me. But also, I realize that I'll mime that I'm doing something on my computer. I bet within the next 5 years, nobody's going to be using their fingers to talk. They'll just talk to their computer.
Yeah.
A keyboard is going to be silly. It's going to be useless. It's going to be, I don't know what we got to get over that. There's going to be another
Yeah.
way to do stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
I realize
Well,
how old fashioned I am hearing you talk about it. Like, yeah, nobody does that anymore. So anyway,
well, and the industry that we grew up in,
yeah,
technology, and so it always used to baffle me when people say they hate change. It's like, how can you be in this industry and hate
yeah.
change? Because we are part of that, and you're right. Because we learned how to type in class was a requirement when I was in high school, and I can still see that teacher hitting your hand if you didn't have those fingers for that position right. But
I
but the
remember a couple things that this happened like in the late, I guess. So I started, that's what it was. When I started college at Oregon State, and that first year was a disaster, but we got a microwave, Shirley, and we stood, yeah,
yeah.
it was so much. We're standing around it like it was going to do a magic trick. We're putting stuff
Uh-huh.
in and we burned, well, of course, popcorn. I mean, there's like 30, undergrads from Oregon State. We're looking at like it was some magic trick and we stared at it. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
and a couple years later, I'm working in downtown Honolulu. We got a fax machine, Shirley. Woo! We looked at that like it was, look at that. Oh man, it was magic. So I think I might as well get a fucking abacus, man. It was
I know, yeah.
so far
Well, wouldn't
back.
that be
So
a
anyway,
great museum to have in your house,
right?
or
Yeah,
where, yeah, all the, I was part of the evolution of all
yeah.
this stuff. Yeah. Well,
Well,
and
the way the world changes and some of the stuff, I know part of what inspired me to invite you to let's do a podcast is because of stuff you have helped me just talk about stuff that's not so fun. And there's been some unfun, all of us, we have to just, you got to compartmentalize, right? Your heart
yeah,
breaks or you just rage with anger, but sometimes you still got to give love to your friends and offer the kindness and do that. We have to do both. We can't lose it all. And I appreciate that about you. We shared something interesting in talking about, for instance, you're the only black person in our MBA class, and some people
yeah,
just pretend like it's not a thing, but it's a thing. You can't ignore
yeah,
that. And I shared with you that those Hawaii days that I just referred to, when we had that fax machine, I was the only white person in the company, and I was a and And I told you the story where my last name Vaughn, people on the phone, they were talking to a Chinese guy. They thought I was Brian Wong. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. But we both have experience. That's an example of, back to the title of this theme for a while, is the cure is curiosity, being curious about somebody else and realizing, well, you got more in common than you might think. That's something people wouldn't expect about you and me. We both have
Yeah,
experience being the only one like us to some degree in
yeah,
environments, and but you've got much more, and you've got, about my kids and my people around me, my chosen family and stuff. But that's, I kind of want to just, with your help, just kind of stir that topic around about being kind, including kind, sharing kindness with others who maybe don't agree with you or you don't agree with them, but they still, like you talked about in that example, there's some of those in your work example, some of those people may not have been a good fit, but they still deserve to be serviced. Maybe they
right.
deserve some kindness, some respect. There's some goodness to be had, right? And I'm kind of, you and I are close enough in age to have lived through a couple things. What do you tell some of those young people who may be asking you, hey, Shirley, I don't know, what's it like to be you, and what guidance do you have for me? I'm a young 25, 30-year-old going through life. What do you how do you help those young folks, the people like Liz?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that I would tell them is to know what their values are, and no matter what the situation is, never compromise their own personal integrity and ethics.
Okay.
And then uh, not feel like you have to defend yourself or explain yourself all the time, and really observe what other people are doing and saying before you speak, because sometimes we have a tendency thinking that we have to speak up first to kind of put our stake in the ground, but in reality you're probably better off just observing for a while, and then uh picking out things to talk about. You don't have to talk about everything. And I know with you and I get together, we could probably talk for hours and still
Got
have
to get snacks
things to
first
talk
when we
about.
get started. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But then uh be clear on whatever your message or comments are. Don't feel like you have to again defend whatever your views are on a particular topic, as long as you're respectful when you are stating something. um and then give them an opportunity to share whatever they feel that they want to share.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's hard if you have um a pre what's the word, the predisposition of what they are like or about. And and this actually just came up just a few days ago with someone I was talking to. I don't remember who, but we
Hmm.
were saying that if you took away the person or all the people, and if it and not even put the a lot of times with in our political environment we put what party they're in. If we
Yeah.
just put the topics on a board and then talk about those topics, we wouldn't know who thought or who made that statement or whatever, because at
Okay.
the end of the day, we all have a lot of similarities and we unfortunately focus on the differences. And so the the topic of being curious is is an opportunity for us to say, even if I don't think I would agree with this person or I don't think I would like this person, what is it about them that I don't like? And
Mm.
do we have anything that's more in common than, and maybe we can dig a little deeper and see what we actually have in common, and let that be the focus.
Yeah. 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 Find the thing.
Yeah.
What we've talked about this a little bit, at least I think we have, is about being misunderstood or mischaracterized when we're the only one like us that people know. And people, you talk about sometimes you feel like you're expected to represent all black people, like in
Yeah.
Chinatown, I had to represent all white people to, well, I did that, and nothing like your example, but what does it feel like to you when you're mischaracterized or misunderstood?
Uh, it definitely is situational because it depends
Yeah,
on what it is and who's involved. Sometimes I do think it's my responsibility to defend myself and let them know who I really am.
yeah,
And sometimes you just let things take its course. And again, I like to focus on the people that I've connected with more than the people that I didn't, because even people that I don't connect with, we
right.
still may have some things in common, and I find a way I can work with you. We can, whatever brought us together, we can get through that.
Hmm.
I don't have to go home with you. I don't have to go to dinner with you. But as a human, you're still human. We're all still human. So keeping that in mind makes it a little bit easier because I think I'm comfortable enough with who I am. But if it's someone that I think that I should have a better relationship with, I may try to find a entry point that will lead to us having a conversation or having something that lets them know that I'm not a bad person. And I've had some situations over in my lifetime where that occurred, and so I know it works. I know by interacting with people and them getting to know who you are, you can change some views with people.
As long as there's enough curiosity on both sides, right? Not everybody has the patience to get to know.
Yeah, curiosity or open mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Well, I guess that's
because
the same thing. You gotta
yeah,
be willing to let new information come in, have an open mind. That's
yeah,
an interesting phrase you use. You had relationships that, how did you say it? You could be better, or you wanted to be better. You had some, uh, and again, protecting the identities. But I
yeah,
like to hear you kind of feel that a little bit because what I get really uncomfortable when somebody assigns some attitude or perspective to me that's not how I feel, and I want to correct them. And I heard your words, and I realized, ooh, that's one of my shortcomings. I want to jump in and correct. I want to fix their perspective before any more time, and that's not always helpful. In fact, my wife Dawn will say, I am impatient about that, and so that's something I'm working on. But back to how you said you have somebody in your some number of people maybe in your life or memory that we could have had a better something could have been better, and then you have the patience to put something into that.
yeah. Well,
Say more about.
yeah. Well, I'll give you an example of, and this person, he's now, I consider him a dear friend, and I think he feels the same about me.
Mhm.
But he grew up in Chicago, and he's Italian, and blacks and Italians apparently in this part of Chicago did not mix well.
Mm,
So his experience, and I think one of the words you and I have talked about or used in the past is exposure. So if
right.
you're not exposed to other things, you form this view of it, and until something helps you or you get an opportunity to see otherwise, then you
Hmm.
still have this view. But in his case, he grew up on the south side of Chicago. I think it was south side, and so he basically disliked blacks. I won't say hate because that's kind of a strong word, but I know he disliked blacks because
Hmm.
all of his interactions were negative. And in addition, he didn't have a very good view on Hispanics. And so, kind of, I don't know if he had the same situations growing up, but that was his view. He didn't have a favorable feel for Hispanics. So uh his now wife, when they met, she happened to have a Hispanic roommate. And then,
Oh, this is good. Okay,
yeah,
here we go.
well, then he came to work for me. I mean, came to work for the company I was at, and he ended up working under me. And so he never talked about if he was having any type of anxiety, just the thought of having me as a manager.
Hmm.
But we built this, what I consider a great relationship, and his barriers, his the wall came down for him, where
Mm.
he was more open to me and to uh the roommate that his wife had, and they have a great relationship as well. And I think it has helped him in his career, because now he has different a very diverse staff that work directly for him. And I hope that that was as a result of him being able to be open-minded enough to realize that the experiences that he had as a younger at a younger age did not define all the people, and he was able to basically treat us based on our interaction, not uh, kind of giving us all the uh, treating all blacks the same because of those experiences that he had when he was younger.
Remember when we were young, the word was prejudice. You were not
Yeah,
supposed to be prejudiced. I don't hear that anymore, but you think about it, it's just we're prejudging based on not enough information. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. Well, now we
well,
call it
that's a good story.
hidden biases, I think is the term
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
we use now. Yeah.
yeah. That's what my friend Ty uses that about, unconscious bias. And
Unconscious bias. Yeah.
yeah, that was his thing. So I've been preaching the gospel of Ty Reed every chance I get, man. I think I've told you about Ty too. So
Uh-huh.
anyway, I love hearing those stories, and that's kind of the purpose of what we do with the Crow Tribe Conversations is just sharing some stories, and maybe somebody's going to go, "Oh, I got some friends like Shirley's friend, and I bet I got a Liz out there somewhere too, and I want to call my." So that's what I hope. That's why I
Yeah.
wanted other people to get a sense you and I are friends, and it's to me it's so important to just have somebody to talk, not just family, but have friends. And this came out when Tony got married. Uh, I had just said something off the cuff. I might have already shared this with you because we talk all the time about stuff, but I'd said the thing about friends is when you pick a friend, they got to pick you back. Otherwise, you're not friends, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
recognizing that, and we talked, when he had to pick his wife and she had to pick him back. It wasn't a one-way deal. And
Uh-huh.
but thinking of friendships like that, a friend's gonna pick you back, and some friendships don't go on forever. I have
Yeah.
some that the heartbreak of losing a friend. Is has been anyway. It's
Yeah.
important. So I have
Yeah.
a complete derailment of your conversation. I'm intrigued with
Yeah.
your Africa earrings there. What's the story about that? That looks like there's a story behind those earrings.
No, well, just that they represent the continent.
Well,
And for one,
obviously,
a lot of people think Africa is like a just
the
one country.
country, yeah.
It's like, no, it's a continent. And so I received so many compliments on these. So I wanted to wear them for this
I
conversation.
like it. Well, I'm a fan of
Yeah,
earrings because she wears big dangly things. I like that. So yeah. I
yeah.
wonder if there's another statement or story there. So
Not
I like it.
and this is Black History Month, right? So
Oh yeah, we got to represent.
yeah.
There it is. So
Yeah. So, but a couple of things you just said that I want to just touch on.
yeah,
Um, when you said your pup, I love that nickname that you give your son. Uh, we also have a responsibility to to reach out. So if we see, like, one of the things that's happening with some of the schools across the country, you may have seen this,
yeah,
where the star athletes or the sports teams are owning the responsibility of making sure no kid is left behind or sit
yeah,
alone stuff. And so even starting like with networking events, we talk about the art of networking in
Hmm.
person. And if you go to an event and you see someone standing by themselves, and no one in the room is talking to them, let's go and talk to them.
Yep.
Let's go and have a conversation with them. So the same thing can happen if there's a person that we typically, if we run into them on occasion, but because we don't have a relationship or we have these uh, unconscious bias about them,
Yeah. Yeah.
then let's take a moment and just reach out to them. And you don't have to have a long conversation. Just say hello and see where that takes you, or how's your day, because we all have things going on, and maybe you encountered that person in the past and it wasn't pleasant, but who knows what was going on with them that day. So you try again, and and just see where it goes. But even if that person rejects you, that's okay. The next time you see someone else, still make the attempt, and you'll find that you will end up getting more positive vibes or reactions than you will the negative.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wonder because I try, nobody's good. I try to remember people's name and to say it the
Oh,
way they do, and people, even people I don't know. So I'm in this
uh-huh.
this new gig. I've combined with another guy at another financial practice, and saw the guy doing the maintenance stuff. I think his name is Mike. I mean, hey, what's your name? I'm new. I'm Brian. And so that I know some of these people they just like to operate and be invisible and head down. And I want to, at least Nux. Hey, man. Hey, Mike. What's going on today? And to be- to
Yeah.
notice people, to note,
Yeah.
and including just like you said, and other friends have heard me say that. Let's get away from the crowd and find the quiet people out here because I kind of noisy already. But I'm
Uh-huh.
drawn to the quiet folks too. So, and just to say
Yeah.
the name, I recognize, and some women have told me this, Brian, not all women can do that. You just, especially to a man, some men are just idiots and they're going to assume every kindness is a flirtation and not just a kindness. And so there's more consequences for women. I
Yeah.
respect that
Yeah.
and have to understand that. But
Yeah, but that too, I won't say there's an art to it, but in a way it is an art to it,
I
because
think there is, yeah.
yeah, you again, you have to just make sure that you are presenting yourself in a way that if he takes it that way, that's on him.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
at the end of the day, you know what your intent was, and just make sure that you maintain those boundaries, and just keep it moving to the so that it doesn't get to a place of being uncomfortable for you. So,
Be patient, be kind,
yeah,
listen, don't be in too much of a rush to get all right. So,
yeah,
when we were talking about doing this, I actually forgot that this summer is the 20th anniversary when we
yeah,
we got our paper. Oh, my
yeah,
paper is now hanging in my office. It used to be in here.
yeah.
We got to do something. We got to
I
get the
know
gang
you
together,
just,
right? I know
yes,
I
you're
didn't
gonna
think
have
of
to.
that. I'm kind of embarrassed. I didn't think of that. Shoot. Well,
I
anyway,
Yeah,
you're already in
the,
Phoenix, so we're gonna go. We're all
yeah,
going to Shirley's place. Let's go.
yeah, right. Well, we
So,
have a clubhouse here, so I'm sure we
or
could we could do something here. But yeah, so
we'll figure that out.
yeah,
That we got to
yeah,
make that a priority because that's that thing for you and me. I'm so proud of that. And shoot, I'm glad we talked about it early. You've got time to figure it out and clear the calendar. I mean, bounce over to Phoenix should be easy. So there's airplanes and
yeah.
everything. Dang.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. You really putting the pressure on.
All right, we
But
got we got.
I know
Can
we
can
can
we
make it
can we
happen.
promise pinky swear right here in the camera?
You got
How do we do that? So
oh, okay.
I don't
Well,
know. Let's go.
we'll
We got
make
to get
it.
that going.
Well, and I'm almost embarrassed to tell you this too.
Uh-oh.
This my 50th year graduating from high school.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
we start counting that, man. Yeah, I guess.
yeah.
Well, I'm up there. Well, my friends that my high school buds, we got together in Missouri in October. And so I graduated high school in '78. Oh yeah, so 48. I'm right around the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah. So a
yeah,
couple more
yeah.
years, but
So yeah,
and we're still 15 years old. There's six of us knuckleheads. We got gray whiskers or no hair left,
I
but
know.
we're still 15-year-old kids.
Yeah, yeah. So is and the fact that you can still stay in touch and
I hunt them
that's
down. I hunt those. Yeah, after I
that
told you, we kind of lost
yeah,
track. Everybody loses track. It takes effort, right? What you and I've
yeah.
been doing, you've been taking the effort to say, "Hey, Brian, you okay? I was thinking about you." I love that, and I think that's what I want everybody who's hearing this for all of you. In fact, let's talk to the people to the camera. For you
Yeah.
people listening, you
Yes.
might have a Liz or somebody out there you wondered about, you just didn't bother to pick up the phone. Leave a voice message. They may not answer,
Yeah.
but I bet you, I don't think anybody's going to feel bad if you just say, "Hey, I was thinking about you. Hope you're doing okay. Feel free to call me back and
Yeah.
happy February." So
If even if you don't have their phone number, if you connected with them on social media, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, just you can send a private message and just say, just thinking about you. And again, I when I reached out to you is because your pattern changed.
mm,
And that's like, okay, this is not the norm. So let me just make sure he's okay because I know some people take a break, but I wanted to make sure that you were okay first. And if you took a break, that it was intentional. So,
that was
and
a
I,
precious
yeah,
thing. It produced a
but
pearl of a tear at that very moment that it happened
yeah,
because you were thinking about it, Shirley. So
yeah.
that meant the world to me. So and other
Well,
people, I
also,
want other people to feel that.
yeah. Well, but also you have to take credit too. I think we built that relationship too, and we were in school, and
Hmm.
because I still had your contact information. So unless I have a reason to delete you, I'm gonna keep it, and then that makes it a little bit easier for me to reach out to people too. So,
All
but
right.
you're a
Well, I love
special
that.
person.
Well, you're
Yeah.
specialer. So before we sign off and get back to whatever we're going to do on Thursday night, this is ladies' night, right? You probably got to go get something going there.
Yeah. Right.
What would you like people to, well, what would you like, what kind of nuggets do you like to leave to the listeners of the podcast in general? And the theme of the cure is curiosity.
I would like for whoever is listening or watching to just feel okay and be okay with getting out of your comfort zone
Ooh,
just for a moment.
ooh, yeah.
Uh, and be purposeful about reaching out to someone, or if you see someone, to just say hello. It doesn't have to be anything big, but you will be pleasantly surprised the feeling that you're going to get because it's going to come back to you because their reaction just from your kind gesture is going to probably make their day, and then hopefully it will lead to you doing it on a more regular basis. That's what I want people to at least try. So
I love that.
yeah.